Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Session C1 of the International Mobility Symposium. We have three distinguished speakers today, uh, Fernando, Maria, and Dr. Yadollah. My name is Shaobo Ji. I'm a professor at the Sprout School of Business at Carleton University. I do research and teaching in information system. I'm also the Associate Dean of Research and International. Now, our three speakers this afternoon, they all have Carleton connections. So the first speaker is Mr. Fernando Barcellos. Fernando has a BA in International Relations at the Federal Flemington University and MA in International Political Economy at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. He's a scholarship recipient under the Global Affairs Canada's Emerging Leaders of Americas program. Fernando conducted part of his master's degree research at Carleton University between 2018 and 2019. Back to Brazil, he defended his thesis on the role of the American over the counter derivatives market for the formation of the floating dollar global financial system. Had his degree and then moved to a career in the Brazilian financial market. Welcome, Fernando.
Thank you, Dr. Shabu. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for the invitation to the Carleton University. Thank you, Maria and Dr. Shabu, as well as Carlos. So today, my idea is to pinpoint three fundamental aspects of my experience at Carleton. First of all, we're going to talk about the mobility. Then we're going to talk about the intercultural experience and how was that for me to be in Ottawa and in Canada. And then we're going to talk about the aftermath. So how was me for me to come back to Brazil after the Canadian experience at Carleton. But basically, just briefly before moving over to talk about the mobility by itself, in general terms, um, me coming to Carleton was fundamental to make that my research. Well, yeah, we can be in the mobility part. That's no problem. Thank you so much. And so that was fundamental for me to go to Carleton University to make my research possible. First of all, because I had a lack of English speaking sources, and I was writing an MA thesis in English language, what is not that common in the Brazilian social sciences university courses and um, postgraduate programs. I was lacking many data, many information, books, and different kind of sourcing. So Carleton made my research available per se. And I believe Mac Aldron had a fundamental role into that, and I would like to say my thank you so much to Alexandra Brake, one of the librarians that helped me to find all the transcripts from the audiences in the American Congress I need to read between the 70s and the 90s. So that was a lot of content, and I needed to read through some audiences to understand how regulation was being displayed, and I found them all through the help of Alexandra. So thank you so much for that. I at Carleton, I also had the experience to find an amazing investing content for not only primary but also secondary sources. MacAldrin Library had many books: international political economy, international relations, international finance, that really helped me to build the theoretical part of my research, and not only the the case studies and the primary source part. And we can move on to the intercultural experience. And so Carl, Ottawa is amazing. Ottawa is not just bilingual, Ottawa is also trilingual. Maria maybe agree with me. We have a good Latino community there. And I'm not a native Spanish speaker. My native language is Portuguese, but I also can speak Spanish. So there was an opportunity to be in touch with three different languages at the same time. I also can speak French, so that was amazing. I and for me in terms of temperature, I maybe Maria is now in Chile, I believe. Yeah, I don't know how many degrees Celsius is in Chile. I'm in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil right now, and today is really hot. You guys in Ottawa, uh, it, it might be very cold. So in my hometown here in Rio, I had summers like 7 4 degrees Celsius, and I faced minus 47 degrees Celsius. So for me, that was really cold, and that was a really different sensation to be in a cold country, and that was also a developed country. So I come from a humble background from the periphery of Rio de Janeiro, and that was my first time that I was in a developed country, and I found that amazing. So in that picture, you can find myself practicing ice skating with Johan Gonzalez, who will be speaking, I believe, 3 o'clock your time. And he was also a Emerging Leaders of American Scholarship recipient back then. And so basically the intercultural experience was brilliant in terms of language, in terms of culture. Aurora is a multicultural city. I used to spend weekdays in Ottawa and weekend days in Gatineau just to get to know the French side, just to get to know Quebec a little bit better. So that was really interesting. And I think we can move forward. And the aftermath. So coming back to Brazil and having Carlton in my CV was just brilliant. So I arrived in Brazil, I finished my master's degree, and then I applied to a position in an expert network firm. So a firm that helps connection between executives of corporations and then analysts from financial market institutions, and having an experience, a research experience in financial regulation, financial governance in Carlton was fundamental for me to take this position, and then to jump into uh, a larger firm. Nowadays, I am financial product analyst at Bloomberg for the São Paulo office, covering the Latin American region. So Carlton was fundamental for me to get this job and to be well set and well placed in my career. And there's an article to come, an article that was started at Carlton with the help of my supervisor back then, Professor Randall Germain, who receives me. Thank you so much as well, Randall, as much as Alexandra Blake. And this is where now I stand in terms of my connection to Carlton. I still talk to Randall a lot, and I still save the experience from my time there. So thank you all.
Thank you, Fernando. I have actually met Maria very briefly just before we locked down last year. Maria Jose Ibáñez has an undergraduate degree in education, a master's degree in industrial management. She is currently a third-year PhD student in business economics at the University of Desarrollo, Chile. Her research interests are in female entrepreneurship and business sustainability. She visited Carleton University in February 2020 for a month, working with Professor Jose Rojas Mendez of the Sprout School of Business, working on a research project to develop national brand personality. Maria, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for the presentation. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this presentation. I'm María José Ibáñez. I thank Carleton University for the invitation to this symposium, and especially Professor Jose Rojas Mendez for the opportunity to develop this work, and Dr. Shaobo for the international experience I had at this university. In this presentation, I will start by presenting the research developed during my stay at Carleton. Then I will tell you about my experience as an intern at the university. In this first slide, you can see my contact information. Please feel free to write me if you have any question or comments. Now, next, please. Thank you very much. Well, this research is about Canada's brand personality in Latin America and how Canada's perceived personality traits influence Latin American decisions about Canada. The national brand personality metaphor makes it possible to measure a country's attractiveness by assigning personality traits to it. People perceive centered human personality traits in a country's image and use this perception to make travel, purchasing, and migration decisions, among others. In this study, we seek answers to three questions. First, how is Canada country brand personality perceived in Latin America? Two, how does Canada brand personality influence Latin American purchase, travel, and ties intention to the country? And finally, how does Canada brand personality influence the overall image Latin Americans have of the country? Next, please. Thank you. We use a scale containing 208 personality traits attributable to a country. This scale was developed by Professor Rojas Mendez and other authors and used in previous studies. Our sample contains 630 respondents distributed among Chile, Argentina, and Ecuador. Using principal components analysis, we identified the personality traits that Latin Americans perceive Canada to be. We reduced the number of traits and found that they cluster into three dimensions of Canada brand personality in Latin America. These three dimensions are vibrancy, self-centeredness, and productivity-oriented. The vibrancy and productivity-oriented are considered or are perceived as positive, and self-centeredness is perceived as negative. Finally, we specify a PLS model to estimate the influence of this three dimensions of Canada's personality on Latin American travel, purchase, and tie development intentions. Well, we also include an estimation of the effect of Canada personality traits on the overall image that Latin Americans have of this country. Our model has adequate fit measures and generate the results shown in the table. We found that vibrancy and productivity-oriented have a positive and significant effect in all our outcome variables. At the same time, self-centeredness only significantly affects Latin American overall image of Canada, and in a positive way. This last result is interesting because negative personality traits are expected to negatively influence the overall image of a country. However, maybe we can find an explanation in the unique cultural characteristic of Latin Americans and their preference. These findings provide insight into how Latin Americans perceive Canada and how this perception affects their decision regarding Canada. This study is novel in that we explore relationships that have not been tested before in a Latin American context. From this research, we can ask ourselves, for example, how the Canadian government can design public policies to attract tourism, migration, and investment from Latin Americans. Other research lines may emerge from this study and contribute to the development of the literature on the nation brand personality. I hope this work has been of interest to you. Now, I would like to tell you about my international experience as an intern at Carleton University. Next, thank you. I came to Carleton University at the invitation of Professor Jose Rojas Mendez to conduct this research. I was here for the entire month of February in 2020, just before the pandemic was declared. At that time, I was in my second year of my PhD in business economics at the Universidad del Desarrollo in Chile. I'm Chilean, I speak Spanish. During my visit, everything was very positive. I was able to use all the university service and everyone was very kind to me. I learned a lot about research methods and how to write a paper. I was also able to improve my English and get to know the Canadian culture. I thought the language was difficult for me at the beginning, but it was not difficult to find help to communicate. In general, the language was not a problem for me during my stay. Also, I have the opportunity to get to see the city and meet many people during my stay. Canada is a very beautiful country, and very different from Chile in a cultural aspect. When I was here, I observed that the people are very disciplined and all the city services are very well organized. But Carleton University is much bigger and more diverse than my home university. You can see people of different races with very different customs, and all are very well integrated into the university ecosystem. I believe that Carleton University is an excellent place for an intercultural experience. I encourage you to look for opportunities to visit the university and enjoy this experience. Well, I have finished my presentation and thank you very much for your attention.
Maria, thank you. So we have our next speaker, Dr. Yadollah Dadgar. He's a professor of economics at the Department of Economics, Beheshti University in Tehran, Iran. He was a visiting professor at Carleton University from 2019 to 2020, a visiting scholar at University of Illinois from 2014 to 2015, and a visiting scholar at UC Berkeley from 2008 to 2009. He teaches the public sector economics, political economy, development economics, and economy systems. His research focuses on behavior economics, health, and economics and development. He is a member of American Economic Association. He is an editor-in-chief, International Journal of Economics and Politics. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to meet you, and thank you for organizing such symposium. As you said, that is the name of my project is Behavioral Economics, an evolutionary paradigm in economics, emphasizing on public policy. Next, please. you know, the main component of that project was that indicating a rebirth of original political economy. You know, the political economy is mainly on neoclassical paradigm right now, but after coming this cognitive revolution, there is some change in the paradigm. There is a new paradigm. You know, originally the political economy in the era of the Adam Smith was a multidisciplinary discipline. But in the neoclassical system, it changed to be just a one-dimensional, and then some new approaches and new that is paradigm came, like, for example, institutionalism and Keynesian, and new one is that is behavioral economics. This one is based on the cognitive revolution. It's a new revolution in psychology, and it realized so many things. One is that there is a significant relationship between economic and psychology, and also sociology, but specifically psychology. And it wants to say about the relationship between the behavior of the economic agent at one side and the mind and the brain of the human on the other. So it is going to produce a new toolkit for the economic science. And one of the main outcome of this new branch is that you can have some changes in the public policy. The public policy originally was based on the economic man, and based on that there was no any relationship between economics and the other social sciences. Economic was just a technical and engineering, that is science. But after the behavioral economics and after the cognitive revolution, there is a new that is finding that you can based on that make policy and also change your policy, reform your policy, and so and so. Next one, please. Yeah, and the comprehending the urgency to take seriously the findings of the cognitive science and reconsidering the academic agenda for economic and business schools. That is necessity for deepening researchers in new political economy. And really our students need the finding of the cognitive science in economics and in business schools. And really it shows some new behavior and new way to look at another angle of the economic science, and also relation of the economic to the other social sciences. Please, another one. And also some impactful intercultural experiences. In my experiences, after talking with some of the professor of the Carleton, there was a very specific center for the families of the scholars. It was, you know, Immigrant Women Services, Ottawa, IWSO, as a friendly and typical center. Again, new one. Establishing different desks for different countries and positing the problems concerned with women specifically. And it was very nice center, and the women and the that is family of the visiting scholar were getting together, talking about their own situation, their relationship with the other cultures, and it was very helpful center. So generally speaking, I appreciate the managers and the chancellor of the Carleton University to provide such efficient centers, and also providing that is some ground for the talking and exchanging view of the visiting scholars throughout the world. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon once again. My name is Carlos, and I'm assisting Dr. Shaobo when it comes to chairing the event. And he asked me to collect questions from the audience and then being able to ask the questions. So I will ask the questions, and Dr. Shaobo will kindly manage how he will help me as well if we need to. So there are very interesting questions for all of them. I guess I could start, if Shaobo allows me to start one question per speaker. And then I will find there are many good questions for all of the speakers as well. So the first question I'm going to read from my screen on the side is for Fernando. And Fernando, thank you so much for your presentation. It was very interesting to hear that how much you have been able to, how satisfied you are with the efforts you have made in terms of your academic career and how that has impacted you in your current job. So that's one, congratulations to you. The one question is, do you think that coming to Carleton, particularly having this experience, might have or not given you an advantage when it comes to how you position yourself in your current job?
Yeah, thank you, Carlos, and thanks for the question. Yeah, definitely. So coming to Carleton, as Maria mentioned, we are in an English-speaking environment, and that means coming back to Latin America, you're really ahead in terms of building a career, and that also means you're more prepared to work into the North American multinationals as the one I am in, Bloomberg, in Latin America. So that was the first aspect. The second aspect, it has to do with knowledge. So being in an English-speaking university, a North American university, really puts you in the lead in terms of research opportunities, debate, the intellectual atmosphere. And the third aspect is that you start to lead with the English-speaking culture as a whole, the way it's built, the way it's organized, and you get more familiar how the behavior are made, how people pursue and understand social relations within any kind of collectivity. So I think in these three aspects, culture, knowledge, language, being at Carleton really gave me advantage to come back to my country and pursue my career.
Thank you so much. Maria, once again, thank you. I will speak much slower. You asked me to do so, and maybe I could speak too fast in English, so I will be happy to do that. The question for you is the following. Very interesting presentation as well. So what was the most interesting aspect of your research when it comes to how Canada is perceived, generally speaking, from Latin America? What was the thing that you found the most interesting for you? And a second question related to it is that you came to Carleton, and how coming to Carleton also helped you shape your perception of Canada, and whether that perception of Canada is in line with the research that you did. Do you understand the question?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you. Yeah. Obviously, my research is very related with my experience in Carleton. Well, the most interesting aspect in my research is the fact is that a negative personality trait have a positive influence on the overall image over Canada's brand personality for the Latin Americans. That it's so counterintuitive, and now I don't have an answer for that, because we need profundize and research more about that. But that is so interesting and very challenging because we don't know the answer for this phenomenon. And well, my perception about Canada, well, my visit improved this perception, because before I come to Canada, I don't know nothing about Canada. Only I know that where is in the map and some general issues. But when I'm staying in Canada, I learn so much, and I have the best opinion of Canada and Canadians. I have all disposition for come back Canada, and maybe staying there indefinitely is a dream for me.
Sorry, thank you. Just one quick follow up, and then I will be going to Dr. Yadollah very quickly. Did you find that the research that you did is in line with your experience here?
Yeah. It's coincidentally the personality trait we found in the research coincide with my opinion about Canada. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
It's very similar.
Okay.
Vibrancy and productivity oriented is characteristic of a developed country as Canada.
Thank you so much. So I will go with Dr. Yadollah once again. The question is how behavioral economics help us better understand how people are responding to COVID-19 from an economic perspective.
Thank you very much. Yes, right now, yes. Based on the knowledge that is one instrument of the behavioral economics that Richard Thaler produced as a new instrument, we can use that, but to have some kind of the change in the behavior of the people regarding to the COVID-19. For instance, for the problem of the cleaning, using masks, and also social distancing, and also the impact of the behavior of the people who that is regarded those cases and didn't have any problem, and the other people who really were involved in the COVID-19. We can encourage so many of them based on the instrument of the behavioral economics. But it is some part of the relationship between the mind and the behavior. So, and also the relation of the other people, and the discourse and the dialogue between the people. That is some instrument of the behavioral economics. So. Yes, we can have a potentiality really, and if the people involved with you exchange of the view and also use the instrument of the behavioral economic to cure some impact of the COVID-19 virus.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your patience when it comes to technology, and we are really pleased that you were able to address such an important question. The next
Sorry
question,
for that.
No,
Sorry
not a problem.
For
we understand. Yes, absolutely. So the next question is for all of for Fernando this time, if Shaobo allows me to continue for the question.
Go ahead.
Then Fernando, if you were a leader in business school management, how would you want to create programs that make sure that students such as yourself coming from Brazil are able to benefit the largest number of students when it comes to advancing their career? You know very well, Fernando, as a young academic and so on, that around the world there are challenges when it comes to converting academic training to jobs that allow them to continue, in a very to advance their personal and career life. So what would you say could be a good way to ensure that benefits such as the one that you went through could be for many more students, whether coming from Brazil or from any other place?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think Global Affairs Canada maintaining the emerging leaders of a program, the emerging leaders of American program, and expanding it. It's a really good start point. This program has been actively bringing Latin American students to Canada, I think, for about 10 years, maybe. And it has been an important source of research, development, and career path improvement. I'm pretty sure my colleague that came with me, Johan Gonzalez, will also tell a brilliant story on how this program has impacted his career. And so, and based on that, I think scholarships that are based on developed countries working to build bridges with emerging countries' universities and bringing talents to their very own universities and giving funds, allowing research opportunities is a really good way for us as a whole, both developed countries and emerging markets, uh, to have a broad scene of success in terms of young careers. And that was my case. That was the case for many recipients of this kind of scholarship. And I think a good path for us to really take advantage of this kind of program is to come back home and stay for a while. Stay for a while and try to use the knowledge we received in the developed country within our own markets.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's such an interesting way to look at it. Shaobo, I would leave up to you if you have any other questions or any other things that you'd like to proceed. And I will be here obviously for assistance. Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask those questions.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to our three speakers. I want to thank Carlos for your help. Actually, I almost went to Brazil, got my visa myself, then COVID hit. And Maria, I think we have an MOU between Carleton and this SSR, right? So on the PhD side, absolutely, we're looking forward to our collaboration and also collaborating with Brazil and Latin American countries, universities. Dr. Yadollah, good to see you again. I wish you well. Thank you, everyone.